Hey everyone, it's Marie, and today I'm going to be making a mixed media tag using the Brutus Monroe's Mega Mixed Media Tags. I think that's what they're called. I could be wrong. But I'm not much of a mixed media person. I do a lot of clean and simple cards, as you know. So this was kind of a stretch for me, a creative challenge. I enjoyed doing it, but I didn't always know exactly what I was doing. So I started off by using a little bit of gesso on this tag, and I don't think you really need to use gesso. I just wanted to add a little bit of texture and put down a surface to make the colors that I'm going to be using look a little bit brighter. But I don't have really a rhyme or reason to where I'm putting it or anything. I'm just using my Brutus Monroe palette knife, and I'm scraping some of gesso out of this jar and just scraping it onto my tag here. Now, my gesso is pretty thick. It's a little bit old. I don't use it a lot, and I live in a climate where it's a little bit drier, so I think it really dried it off. Now, I do want to say that behind my tag, I am using the Brutus Monroe Mixed Media Matte as well, and I've really been loving it. It's so easy to clean, and nothing really sticks to it, which is great. It's a nice slick surface, and it really works well for doing ink blending and any kind of mixed media. So I would definitely recommend the matte. Now I'm using the Brutus Monroe Polka stencil. I'm putting some more gesso over this stencil. I just want to get some of these circles in here and make a little bit of texture and interest. I just put a little bit on the top right corner and the bottom left corner. And before I dry this, I wanted to put a little bit of gold on here, so I'm grabbing my very favorite Brutus Monroe Gilded Embossing Powder, and I'm sprinkling just a little bit on. I'm not dumping the whole thing on. I just wanted to sprinkle some because since my gesso is so wet, a lot of the powder I thought would stick, and I didn't want to waste all of my powder, so I'm just sprinkling a little bit on. I've never tried to emboss over gesso before, so I'm just going to see how it works. So I just poured the extra back into my jar there, and I'm using my heat gun to heat up this powder and melt it. Now, it did take a little bit longer to melt on the gesso than it typically does with embossing ink on paper, but as you can see, it did really work. It's not a very smooth embossing just because of the gesso underneath. As it heats up, it bubbles and it gives you some texture, but I really did love that texture on the gesso, so I thought it turned out great. And it's good to know that you can emboss with different mediums as well instead of just ink if you're going for a different look. So next I'm taking some of my Brutus Monroe Surface Spray. Now I'm really liking this spray. I didn't want to spray it on with the spray bottle because I'm going to kind of try to apply it in sort of more of a methodical application. I'm trying to think of how to say this. I didn't want it to go everywhere. I wanted to kind of control where the color goes. So before I put on my surface spray, I'm grabbing some Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist. This is a clear glimmer mist, and it just has some gold shimmer to it. I wanted to add some liquid down first and then apply my spray with a paintbrush, and that way I could kind of control where the color went, and I wanted to just really let the color run, and so it could kind of do its own thing and look a little bit more natural. So I'm taking a paintbrush, I'm taking some of that spray, and I'm just adding it over where I sprayed the glimmer mist. And you can see I'm tipping my tag, and I'm just letting all those colors run down and mix with the glimmer mist, and I'm really liking how it's turning out. Now, I love this color. This Oz from Brutus Monroe is one of my favorite colors. It coordinates with their surface ink. It's a greenish blue, and I just love it. Now you can see I'm just kind of spritzing it a little bit more there. I wanted to get those colors running, and you can really see how well it mixes with the glimmer mist. It's actually kind of toning down the color as well, giving it sort of a lighter, more airy feel. The surface spray gives you a really good coverage. I mean, it covers your paper, it covers your tag, which is a great thing, but I wanted it to kind of be a little bit toned down. So it works really well with other mediums as well. You could probably use water too. I'm just using my glimmer mist because I wanted some more of that gold shimmer in there as well. So I'm pretty much letting the liquid do its thing. I'm just kind of tipping it and letting it just run all over the tag. Now I wanted to show you, you can see as I'm hitting it with my heat tool here, this surface spray, it starts to get its own texture. You can kind of see it moving apart and creating some little holes or spots there, and I just love that. I think that's really unique, and I love the texture that it's giving. So I'm just going ahead and I'm drying my tag, making sure it's totally dry so I can move on to my next step here. Now my tag is kind of warping a little bit, but it folds back out as I'm working with it, so it's not going to be totally curled when I'm done with it. Now I'm going to be adding some photos. Now these are photos of my daughter. I like to try to make a photo shoot for her for every month. These are her 9-month-old photos. I have to say I'm kind of failing at getting on these pictures every month. I think I've missed a few of her monthly photos. With my son, I was like right on them, with him being the oldest, first child. So poor girl, being the second child, she sometimes I don't get on top of things as well, but we try to make the most of it when I get the time to do it. So I just wanted to sort of scrap these photos on this mixed media tag here. Now this little butterfly is from the Butterfly Sentiments stamp set. I stamped it out on vellum and I embossed it in some more of the gilded embossing powder. And so it coordinates with the embossing powder I put on those circles in the background. And I'm also going to be layering on some of these flowers and just making this a really girly, flowery piece. These flowers I've just had in my stash are kind of fabric flowers, really crumpled up, and I'm just going to go ahead and arrange all these pieces on my tag to kind of make them look good. So the little bow that you see there is another bow from Brutus Monroe. It's paper and it's totally flat, but if you didn't know it was a paper embellishment, you would think it's an actual dimensional bow because it looks so real. And I just love that, and I loved it on this piece here. I think that black gives some nice contrast, so I decided to go ahead and put that on there. So once I had all of my little embellishments put where I want them to go and decided what I wanted to use, I used a little bit of the Brutus Monroe glue, and I just started gluing things down. And I love, when I'm doing mixed media and stuff, I like using a liquid glue because it gives you a little wiggle room before it dries to kind of slide everything into place. So as I'm putting on the embellishments here, it's pretty much now it's just embellishing, and I'm kind of done with the tag. But I did do a few extra things off camera like I usually do. I usually take my project and tweak a few things or add a few things. So after I was done finishing this video, I went back, I added some lace, I added a little wax seal that I made, and so I will definitely have more pictures and more description of everything I did on my blog. If you're interested in that, I'll have the link down below. I'll also link to a lot of the products I used. So if you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. I love hearing all your questions or comments. But that's pretty much it for today. So thanks so much for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. Bye.